Welcome back to the P.I Show. Before the break, we were discussing a case involving damages for a motorcyclist with a very nasty left leg. Again, the final conclusion of the judge, as you point out, was that he rounded figures out, and even though they came to a decimal point, he just rounded them out. General damage is 180, yes. Light, we think is light. Past economic loss, 128,784.
Accurate.
That's an accurate figure.
Yes.
Future economic loss, 350,
yep.
Which made up 658,784. What did the judge do?
He rounded it down.
Down.
To 650.
So he just said the final order of this case is damages to the plaintiff for $650,000.
Right.
So again, that's a global figure. It's not scientific, as Tony says, but judges do the best they can on the evidence before them. Now we're going to a very special segment, which is Tony's mailbag.
Actually, we got a lot of emails in the last couple of weeks, and I appreciate them, and quite frankly, I'd like the viewers to keep writing in because I find them pretty interesting, entertaining. Harry, I got this one from Jeff. He says he had an injury in 2001 requiring a laminectomy of his back at the old 5S1, which is a significant operation. Re-injured himself in 2007 whilst working for another employer, and he required a spinal fusion at the same level, L5S1. Would it be recommended to sue the first employer before the second surgery, or both employers together after the fusion, the spinal fusion? It's a question we encounter on quite a regular basis.
There's, sounds like there's two injuries to the same body part.
Yep.
The thing I'd look at is to get medical opinion about the damage in 2007. It sounds to me that his final incapacity, if you like, or aggravation of a pre-existing injury in 2001 is the 2007 injury. I would sue the second employer, and the second employer is liable for the additional damage done to the back as a result of a 2007 incident. Now, I think Martin's got a view about a 2001 incident. It's more than 6 years old, so that's a factor.
That's one of the factors. I'll go back to the old simple rationale we've discussed here many times on the show. That is, every case is different. All of them differ with their facts. This is a 2001 incident. The way I've heard the story so far, he injured his back, required an operation. He's had a second incident in 2007. The one that's more than 6 years old has what's called the statute of limitations defence. That doesn't mean it's over, but it has to be addressed.
All right,
the medical evidence, however, is going to be the key factor in this case.
Well, one of the problems we've got is we don't have enough information, but it could be that assuming liability, that is the issue of fault, is easier in 2001, and then Harry's, rightly probably taken the approach to 2007's superseded everything.
Yep.
It's an intervening event. But, you've got to look at the issue of fault, which is pretty significant. Yes. And really, if we had more information and you could discriminate between the earlier incident and earlier injury and the second one, you might have two serious injuries, Harry.
You could have, yeah.
Yeah, and you'd sue both employers.
Yeah, depends on the medical evidence.
But it depends on the medical evidence. And there's not.
Yeah, I think you'd start with the second 2007 incident and assess that on the fault aspect and the medical material, and then work backwards.
I think that's
My advice is simple. It's nothing can be done except speak to a lawyer, make sure you've got all your facts, give precise instructions, and put all the medical evidence.
And you've got to be careful too, because in trying to be smart and go for two serious injuries, you could miss out completely.
That's right.
Because then you've got to show
you fall in between two stools. You've got to show.
This is a case where you would have to get advice.
That's right.
So we recommend that the viewer does that.
Yep.
Correct.
Now, Constable Mick,
a
member of the constabulary, has an accident. He says he's injured at work arresting a drunk.
Yep.
He's off work for 4 months. He's got a badly injured hand, and he's had 3 operations. He says, "Who cares?" ? What can I do ? He's just interested. It's a pretty broad question. But
Yeah, look, the starting point is obviously entitled to. He should have lodged a claim. It's an injury during the course of work. He's entitled to weekly payments. He's entitled to medical and like expenses.
There are no fault benefits.
There are no fault benefits.
Yep.
And they are ongoing. Secondly, you'd have to consider the circumstances of the arrest of a person and how he came to injure his hand, and to see whether there was any fault or wrongdoing. You could possibly sue the arrested person personally, but they might not have any insurance.
Yes.
So it might be a futile exercise ultimately.
Well, Harry could be attending a pub brawl and there
Well,
wasn't
it could be
enough
attending a
people.
sporting
Yeah,
event.
Could be anything.
Could be attending a sporting event. It's in the
facts.
course. Yeah, you got to look at.
He may be entitled to his impairment if it's a wrist, and it's as you said, 3 operations. There may be ongoing complications and range of movement problems there.
Well, Martin, you'd be looking at the issue of fault
So
pretty
within-
closely,
You certainly
because
would.
it sounds to me that 3 operations on one hand is pretty significant.
Well, for
appears that way.
for common law, he's got to have
Yeah.
a serious injury.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Tony, you on that
I'm convinced.
minimal material, you're convinced he's got a serious
Oh,
injury.
yeah, 3 operations is nothing to sneeze at.
So that's likely.
And I'd be looking very closely at the issue of fault.
So get some legal advice again.
Definitely,
But
without doubt.
unfortunately, he's got to wait 12 months to lodge an impairment benefit claim.
Yep.
And he's got to wait 18 months in order to lodge a claim at common law.
Correct.
That's
So
right.
there are time periods and time frames. So, he in the meantime, he's got to look at the no fault benefits.
Correct.
The third thing is you'd have to carefully look at superannuation.
Yes.
And his age and his superannuation benefits, because the Victorian Police have what I think is a fairly comprehensive and generous superannuation scheme. So in the long
Good
term,
point.
he may have some benefits arising out of...
He might have
his-
to
his-
rehabilitate himself and
but arising out of his membership of a superannuation fund as well. So they're the things that you've got to look at. Unfortunately, that's... time's gone very quickly tonight. Please keep writing into our show to ask questions. You've got to go to the website, and we think they're very interesting questions. That's all we've got time for. And thank you, Marty. Thank you, Tony.
thank you, viewers.
Thank
Thank you.